Hello everybody, today is Monday, April 30th, 2012, and this is the Diablo Daily episode number 6. Yes, we finally hit 2 hands. Today's episode is going to be all about the Mercenaries system, or system I guess. Mercenaries from Diablo 2, they're now called followers. We have companions, we have temporaries, it's all kind of good stuff. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. I might try and watch the chat today, but if anybody saw the first episode, we know what happens when I do that, so I might not watch the chat. I don't know. I guess we will see how that goes. First off, I want to talk a little bit about some announcements, and let me pull these up. If you guys didn't see over the weekend, Blizzard played a campaign, like an ad campaign spot, and I'm going to play that for you. It's only 30 seconds long. It's not too bad, but it's pretty awesome, and if you don't get hyped up for this, then you're crazy. So I'm going to play this and mute myself for just 1 second. Wow, that's pretty killer. 30 seconds. But somebody actually, yeah, I should probably get on that. Somebody linked me to a Firefox add-on that solves that whole buffering issue that I keep having. So I'm gonna have to check that out after the show. All right, it looks like it should be good now.
Diablo 3 for PC and Mac.
Well, it's a good thing that I actually decided to look at chat today. Huh. Alright. Alright, there you go. So like I was saying, that is the just a short little Diablo 3 cinematic type thing. They show little blips. Yeah, that sucks, because I was talking for a while there. Anyway, it's the Diablo 3 cinematic. They show a couple seconds here and there of all cool different parts of the Diablo 3 cinematics. At one point we saw this is what I was saying. We saw Imperius rising from the ground, and he gets his armor on and picks up the sword and everything. And yeah, that was all cool. And yeah, I mean, I can see when it's muted, except I guess I don't know. I'm just I don't know. I'm done with school for actually, I'm not even done with school now. The semester ended Friday, and then my summer classes started today. I switched majors, so from computer science to information technology, and most people are like, but what's the difference? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. I don't know. Computer science is just more math and science, and information technology is business and computers as opposed to math, science, and computers. So I ended up having to take a couple classes this summer to catch up, so I guess I'm not even really done with summer. I got 4 classes even this summer. So, I don't know, I kind of shut my brain off for this last weekend because I took my finals and everything. Yeah, I think I've passed my finals, knock on wood. No, I mean, I should be good. Sucky thing is I just got to take classes this summer so I can graduate next spring still. But anyway, like I was saying, that was the Diablo 3 cinematic that played during the Family Guy episode this past weekend. They kind of just used little hype type things, a couple seconds here and there for 30 seconds long. So yes, that was announcement number 1. Tonight is actually the last night for the beta. It ends 3 a.m. Pacific time. So technically it's 3 a.m. tomorrow, but it's, you know, actually it's like 12 hours from right now. So we've got 12 hours left of the Diablo 3 beta, and then on May 2nd, probably around 10 a.m. Pacific or noon Pacific is usually when they actually get it back up. The Diablo 2 ladder will be resetting. Somebody actually sent me a tweet asking if I was going to be playing and whether or not I had room in my party, and I didn't really put much thought into it. But you know, I might just go ahead and play this new ladder as kind of a last hurrah for Diablo 2, and I'll probably go ahead and stream that. And you know, I'm assuming I'm going to have room because I'll probably only have like maybe 1 or 2 people interested in playing with me, that, you know, my friends. So I'll probably have room for anybody interested in playing with me. I'll let you guys know about more about that on Wednesday, which is actually when it's going to go up. So yeah, I'll let you guys know more about that on Wednesday. Tonight I'm thinking about doing a Diablo 3 end of the beta type stream, maybe from like midnight to 3 a.m. Pacific time. Not exactly sure yet. I'm going to try and get like EG Machine, a StarCraft 2 pro player, to play with me, maybe Anna Prosser, EG's PR lady girl. So I don't know. I'm just going to kind of wing it, play that one by ear. We'll tweet, let everybody know. But yeah, so we might do like a Diablo 3 end of the beta type stream tonight. Probably going to do some Diablo 2 ladder thing. I don't know. I will let you guys know about that on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure I had a third announcement, but I don't remember. It obviously wasn't all that important. So let's just jump right into today's topic. And today's topic, like I said earlier, is Mercenaries. We've got Mercenaries in Diablo 2. They're basically these people that you can hire to fight for you. In Diablo 3, we've got Followers, is what they're called. Kind of the same concept. We also have these Companions. And we have like Temporaries is what I'm calling them. I think Blizzard call them Temporaries. They're not like official, but I will touch on them a little bit later and you'll kind of understand why I'm calling them Temporaries. So, first off, I'm going to just kind of briefly cover what the Diablo 2 Mercenaries are. I've got a beautiful little wiki page here, courtesy of Ink Gamers. And let's just jump into this. Alright, so let me zoom in just a little bit. You don't really need to read the text, I'm just kind of pointing this out. Diablo 2, like I said, we have mercenaries that you can pay to fight for you. So we've got this Act 1 mercenary, which is the rogue. And, you know, she's pretty straightforward. She's a rogue. She fires bow. And that's pretty much the gist of that. There's like 3 different types of rogues you could possibly get. One is cold arrow. Another one's fire arrow. Sorry, I guess there's only 2. My bad. Yeah, there's only 2 different rogues you can get. Cold arrow, fire arrow, and they also have inner sight. It's just an Amazon skill. No biggie. The second type of mercenary in Diablo 2 we have is the Desert Mercenary, Act 2. There's 3 different ones of these guys, and I'm positive of that. There's, combat, defense, and offense. And basically, as you can see, depending on what type of mercenary they are, changes the type of aura that they have. And again, the aura is just a passive buff that you get in a little area of effect around you. So, let's say Prayer, good example. Prayer just heals you in a little area of effect around the mercenary, depending on what level the skill is. So we've got this third act mercenary, which I personally thought this third act one was the coolest. He was like the and as you can see, we kind of almost have like a little Diablo 1 classes, like a little kickback to them. See, this really looks like the sorcerer from Diablo 1. This looks like obviously the rogue from Diablo 1. It even has the, a rogue name. But we've got this Act 3 mercenary. He is kind of like the sorcerer type class, like I just said. And there's 3 different kinds. There's fire, there's cold, and there's lightning. And then again, fire, cold, and lightning were also the skill tree or skill path names for the sorceress. So he basically just used sorceress's skills. Again, fire uses fireball and inferno. Cold is glacial spike, ice blast, and frozen armor. And then lightning is charge bolt and lightning bolt. Not too complex. It's very simple. Again, it's just really this other class. Or not a class, it's just another, I don't really want to call it a player, it's a non-player character, but you pay them and they come around and fight with you. In Diablo 2, you were allowed to have them even in multiplayer games. Diablo 3 has changed. I'll touch on that in a little bit. And then, of course, we have the last one. There were no Act 4 mercenaries, but we have this last one, Act 5 mercenary, which is the Barbarian. Bash and Stun are his 2 skills. There's only 1 type. And, of course, he had different equipment than the rest of them. I'm going to touch on that in just a little bit. Because I'm going to jump into Diablo 2. I'm going to purchase each of the mercenaries, show off what equipment they can use, maybe touch a little bit on possible builds. And I'm basically just going to split the show up into Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. So I'm going to touch on Diablo 2 right now. take a little break afterward, touch on Diablo 3 and the different kinds of mercenaries, I guess we can call them. So let's jump in game, see if I can do this. Alrighty, here we go. Here we have my level 99 Amazon, and yes, she's level 99. This is single player. I may or may not have used a hero editor. Basically, in Diablo 2, a lot of people just use hero editors just to test builds and whatnot, because again, prior to the 1.13 patch, you couldn't respec or do anything. So you had to jump in single player, test things out, try your builds out, see what you liked, what you didn't like, things of that nature. So I kind of just use this character to test things out. Anyway, that's not the point. I'm here to show off some mercenaries. So let's jump here. Wrong one. Let's jump here. Okay, so we've got this chick, Kasia. Let's hire, I don't know, how about Kyle? I don't like Kyle. Yeah, we'll just get Blaze. Anyway, Blaze. Alright, so we've got Blaze here. This little rogue chick from Act 1. Let's see what she's got. So she literally has nothing on. That's how they all come. So she can hold armor here, obviously, a helmet, and then either a bow and arrow or a crossbow. She can do either, and actually I guess I can go buy some stuff for her just because I've got plenty of money. So let's just buy some stuff. It's not going to be good at all. That and that. I don't think I actually bought the hat. Boom. Okay, so let's throw this stuff on her. Hopefully she has enough strength. Yes, she does. Okie doke, so we're good to go. Now she's fully equipped with pretty crappy gear, but that's not the point. So here we've got just a random bow I got for her, some armor, and again a helmet. So let's run into town, or let's run out of town into some place. Let's go to the catacombs. Now she's probably just going to wreck face because she's level 96, and this is normal, so actually let's probably go to Act 4 where there's going to actually be monsters. Let's go here. And let's just run past everybody. Alright, here we go. So let's go Blaze, let's go kill some stuff. There you go. See, she's just wrecking face with Cold Arrow because she's, again, a Cold Arrow mercenary rogue. Bam, bam. She's just melting face with this bow. So yes, as you can see, again, I don't really even have to do anything. I could just let her fight for me. Now, that in mind, I mean, again, like I said, this is level 96 rogue, and she is relatively strong because, again, this is normal. But what I'm getting at here is there were potential builds from Diablo 2 that completely relied on the mercenary. I don't have any prepared just because it's not really one that I did, although it was kind of interesting. Again, I didn't really do one, although, I mean, I guess my Necromancer kind of sort of relied on the mercenary. If you guys remember my skeleton summoning Necromancer, I had my golem and I had my mercenary, and in order for me to start summoning skeletons, I needed the two of them to start killing stuff. That way I could summon. And that was kind of just how things work. So again, we've got this rogue mercenary. She's obviously a ranged character, so that in mind, right off the bat, I would probably say a good class, a good complement class for her would be somebody such as a barbarian or paladin, who is usually up front meleeing, or maybe even a bear druid or a wolf druid, something along those lines. Basically, if you're up front and you're fighting, hand to hand, it makes sense for her to be in the back shooting, and obviously you're tanking and she's DPSing the way. Of course, I mean, you could really do whatever you want. There is no, there's like no rules for this. It's just kind of whatever you think is cool. Again, Diablo isn't about being optimal. It's all about being viable. So if you can get a cool build and something that you like, play whatever you enjoy, whatever works. So again, let's jump back in here. We've got this Act 1 Rogue Mercenary, not a huge deal. Now let's head over to Act 2. And we will purchase an Act 2 Mercenary. Let me just take the stuff off her so I don't have to go buy it again. Let's go to Grease. And we shall hire Pratham. For some reason, I always got Pratham. Don't know why. Pratham's my man. Let's put some stuff on him. Let's get that. Let's get that. Now, if you noticed before, my rogue mercenary used a bow and a crossbow, or a crossbow doesn't have to be, or it could be either. She couldn't dual wield. She could only use one. And that is kind of, I mean, obviously, like I said, she was ranged, but each of the mercenaries, they only they have their own specific gear set. They can only use specific items. So, for this Act 2 mercenary, he can only use, I believe, spears. Not even javelins, I believe, only spears. Let us, actually, he does have weapons. And of course, nothing that he can use. Alrighty, so let's go to this chick. So we can buy this dude a spear. And let's get that, just because it looks kind of cool. So let's equip that. Alright, so now my dude Pratham has got some armor, and a cap, and a trident, because it's a spear. So let's go to, say, Halls of the Pain, and let's go find some guys for him to kill. Of course, now, again, he is completely different. You see, I'm not sure why it's not proccing, but he should, right now, he should have a spell or an aura on. And, yeah, there it goes. There we go. Alright, so that looks like Blessed Aim to me, and I got a defensive, so let me just double check. Defiance. I lied. So we've got Defiance on. Okay. Not a big deal. I just realized I was in the wrong one. So we've got Defiance on. Okie doke. So Defiance basically just adds armor to me. As you can see, my defense goes way the hell up. So we can just run around, and normally I use this character on my spellcasting classes. And why is that? Well, other than the fact that he is a tank, he also has the ability to use the spear type weapons. And one of the big rune words for spears is called Insight. Now, an Insight, what it does is, like I said, it's a rune word. So basically, you put a couple of runes in order in I think it's either 3 or 4 socketed spear, and it becomes an Insight. And this Insight, what it does is it adds level whatever, just a random level. Wow, I just drew a blank. I don't remember what the hell the name of the spell is. But you know, it starts with an I. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I just had a brain fart. I don't remember what the hell the name of the spell is, but I talked about this last week. It adds mana regeneration to you. So basically, as a spellcaster, you never... Yes, meditation. There you go. Thank you. So, you know, I'm going to definitely start looking at the chat more often. It definitely helps when I have brain farts. It's not good to have, like, you know, brain farts. Like I said, I turned off my brain because the semester ended, so you're going to have to just bear with me for another couple days while I kind of, you know, kick back up into gear. So, anyway, we've got the Insight, which adds meditation. Meditation is a paladin aura, which adds mana regeneration. And again, mana regeneration is huge for spellcasters, so you can just spam whatever spells you want. Perfect example is a Hammerdin, the Hammerdin that I had before, or even my Skeleton Summoning Necromancer, so I can just spam summon really quickly and then use my curses without having to worry about anything. And basically, he can just kind of run around and tank damage if he has to, but the main reason for using this particular mercenary is to use or to gain the benefit of this Insight. The Insight rune words skills, and I mean that's really the gist of it. So let's just jump back into the game for just a little bit. We can check him out for a couple more seconds. See, he's kind of just running all the way down there because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. So he's just going to stab him to death. But like I was saying, normally he would be around taking damage if he has to. Another good character to use him on is, say, the Sorceress, because, again, obviously he tanks damage, and he can help that mana regeneration immensely. Of course, there are 2 other potential tanky classes you could use. One of them being the Act 3 Summoner, again, or Sorcerer, and then, again, the Act 5 Barbarian. Obviously, the Act 5 Barbarian is probably a lot more tanky than the other 2. Again, it really all depends on how you itemize them. Another big thing in Diablo, like I know I've said before, is itemization. Itemization is everything. If I wanted to make a melee sorceress in Diablo 2, I most certainly could. I would use something like Enchant to get that fire enhancement on my sword or my melee weapon, and then I would get armor that, you know, has a lot of defense, adds things probably like lifesteal. Maybe I'd use a lot more closer range spells, maybe Blaze. Actually, this kind of sounds like a fun character to play. Maybe I'll have to give this a shot in the new ladder. I think that'd probably be a little bit of fun. Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, yeah, as you can see, like it's a lot of fun just coming up with builds like I just did running the spot here. That's just, I don't know, that's one of the main reasons why I'm so pumped for Diablo 3. Like, obviously, people are going to be doing you know, the very cliche like wizard casting build, or the up close and personal barbarian, and the DPS quick monk, and summoning witch doctor. Demon hunter is obviously, you know, ranged bow skills, but I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, cool, how do I make a melee wizard? How do I make a non-bow demon hunter? How do I make a non-summoning witch doctor? How do I make a summoning, I don't know, monk? Or perfect example, like my medic paladin, a support monk. You just use all mantras. How cool would that be? And probably like something like Inner Sanctuary. Basically, Inner Sanctuary for the monk, it kind of like makes it like deletes pathing temporarily, so monsters can't walk through that particular on that particular ground. Again, this is just a lot of fun for Diablo 3. I mean, obviously, I'm way into PvP, and I'm so pumped for the PvP arenas. I can't wait for that. But I mean, even in PvP arenas, like, it'd be super fun for me to run around as a melee wizard and just, like, you know, hand-to-hand combat a barbarian. That's just way too much fun. I think that stuff, that's so cool. Anyway, I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent. Back to Mercenaries. We've got this Act 2 Mercenary that I was just showing off. Now I'm going to jump into Act 3, and we'll purchase an Act 3 Mercenary. And first I'm going to get him a little bit of gear, because I'm nice and I've got plenty of money, because this is single player. And in Diablo 2, money meant really nothing. Okie doke. And do we have a sword for him? Maybe he can use a mace, although I don't think he can use maces. Alrighty, let's go grab this guy from Ashira back here. This like half-naked assassin chick. She's not the assassin. Alright, let's get, I don't know. Oh, let's get Fate, because that sounds sick. Oh, actually I want to get the gear off of this dude first. Basically, if I left this gear on him and purchased a new mercenary, it would just disappear. So anyway, we're going to pick up Fate, because Fate sounds like an awesome name. And let's throw on some gear for this guy. Shield. Yeah, you can't use maces, that's what I thought. No biggie, we can actually, she says she trades, so maybe she has... Perfect! Oh, she has the exact sword that he uses. Let's pick up that bad boy. Alrighty. Throw that on. Okie doke. Now, like I was saying before, I think the Act 3 Mercenary is by far the coolest mercenary. He's like I was just saying, he's like this combination of weird build and, you know, basically he's a sorcerer that uses a sword and shield, and I just think that's cool. So he runs around and casts, but he also uses a shield to block, and, you know, swings his sword every now and then when he's out of mana, and I think that's super cool, as opposed to, you know, holding a staff and getting whatever benefits from a staff. So yes, this kind of all harkens back to the doesn't have to be optimal, can be viable, come up with cool builds, Diablo type thing that we've got going on here. Alrighty, so let's check this out. I wasn't even paying attention, so I don't even know what kind of sorcerer I just purchased. So let's go to Durance. Nah, let's not go to Durance. Let's go to Wildstone Keep. And alright, perfect. We've got a bunch of dudes here, so let's kind of see what it is that he's about to do. Yes, okay, so we've got a fire one. See, he's casting Inferno, he's casting Fireball, and you can't even see him back there because of the line of sight areas. Alright, so we've got Fireball, we've got Inferno. He's pretty cool. I kind of want to wait until he runs out of mana. Actually, he probably won't run out of mana because he's level 95. So he's got a ridiculous amount of mana, so that might not happen. I mean, not a huge deal. Wow, I think those little animations right there are pretty sick. Anyway, basically what we've got going on is this melee casting sorcerer. Like I said, I think he's probably the coolest mercenary in Diablo 2. By far my favorite. I never really used him because, again, it was just so much more beneficial for me to use the Act 2 mercenary. Unfortunately, I'm one of those mid-maxers, so, I mean, I never really got a chance to play what was cool. No, I'm just kidding. But, I mean, I don't know. I enjoy killing things myself most of the time, so I needed that insight to help me spam spells. But, like I said, Act 3 Mercenary is by far the coolest one. Personally, of course. Just personally. Let's kind of let him do the thing. And we'll check him out just a little bit more, because he's a boss. Alrighty. So that kind of just gets the gist of my Act 2 mercenary. So now I'm going to go ahead and run into Act 4. Act 4, of course, is, or sorry, Act 4 didn't have one, Act 5. Act 5, of course, is the Barbarian Mercenary, and basically he can dual wield. And actually, I don't think I really covered this. Act 3 Mercenaries, they have sword and shield, obviously. Act 5 Mercenary, the Barbarian, can dual wield, I believe it's only one-handed items. I don't think he can dual wield two-handed items. I know that the actual Barbarian can, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've played on this particular mercenary. I don't think I've ever really used him seriously, but let's just check him out. Pull the stuff off this guy. And we're running out of room. It's okay, I'm rich. Don't mind. Alright, so let's see, who do we want to get? Magnus, that sounds like a cool name. Yep, I'm down with Magnus. Alright, so we just picked up Magnus. Now, ooh, I'm wrong, sorry, he can use only one two-handed weapon. I was wrong. Happens every occasion. Yeah, you should probably take note. It's not every day that I'm wrong. And actually, we can't let my girlfriend know that. Alright, so let's go buy this dude a nice little sword. And maybe I'll do a little bit of testing so we can pick that stuff up for him. So let's see. 99%. Oh, wow! Wow, so I was right. Okay, so he can... Oh, no. Hold the phone. Okay. So he can't dual wield single-handed items, but he can only hold one sword. Whether it be a two-handed sword or a one-handed sword. He can only hold one sword. Alrighty. So, now we've got that squared away. Let's put that thing on him because it's giant and looks sick. And it's Flamberge of the Venom, so that means he's going to do some poison damage. Yeah, 21 poison damage over 4 seconds. So basically, his thing is that he's tanky and can do some damage, but more tanky than DPSing. Alright, so let's just jump into, say, let's go to City of the Damned. This is in Hell in Diablo 2. So now we are running around in hell. Let's get this barbarian hacking and slashing. So yeah, he's just wrecking face. He kind of looks like one of those little cartoon action characters from like Kablam, if anybody saw that Nickelodeon show back in the day. Most of you are probably like, dude, what are you talking about? And I have no idea how the hell I just came up with that. I kind of just pulled it out. But, oh yeah, there's a wall there, so we can't really do much of anything. Alright, so let's go over here, Magnus, and let's wreck some of these faces of... Wow, Stranglers is what they're called? Interesting. Anyway, we've got these Abyss Knights that are about to die in one shot, no biggie. I just picked up this Lightning Resist Shrine. He also gets this, I believe, and actually you can't even see because he's got maxed out resistances. Again, because he is level 95 and this is normal. So, thank you, Magnus, for helping me show my point that you're a beast. Alrighty. So basically, what we've got going on here is... What we've got going on here is 4 different types of mercenaries. Again, we've got the Act 1 Rogue, which is more ranged. She uses a bow. We've got the Act 2 Desert Mercenary, who is sort of kind of like a monk paladin type character. He runs around with a spear, pokes people to death, and he's got this cool aura that he can use to help your character out. We then have this Act 3 Mercenary, again, I think is by far my favorite. He is the sorcerer, like melee sorcerer type caster kind of a guy. He runs around hacking and slashing, but at the same time he will shoot some spells off. And then of course we have this Act 5 Barbarian who is more tanky than DPS. And that's kind of the gist of that. In Diablo 2, actually let me see if I can go run to it really quickly. Other than mercenaries, there were also this other type of yeah, here we go. There's this other type of non-playable character, and I'm going to pop this up in game. Basically, in Diablo 2, we've got mercenaries, like I've just been showing you, and then we have, I guess what I'll call them right now are stationaries, or what we can also refer to in Diablo 3 as temporaries. Basically, if I'm not a high enough level or I don't complete the Den of Evil, this chick Flavie in between Bloodmoor and the Cold Plains, she'll kind of just be like, you may not pass, or something like that, you know, beware lies danger, the mortal likes of you, whatever. And basically, yeah, see, she's firing her bow at these guys. So basically, you can think of her as like stationary defense. She won't really run around. She stays in between here and here, depending on where monsters are. Obviously, she was just shooting these guys over here, so let's kind of see if we can pull this dude. And she will just go ahead and kill it. There you go. And actually, my barbarian's going to go over and wreck it. Alrighty, so yeah, basically, I'm just kind of pointing this out because this is going to be a nice little segue into some Diablo 3 type stuff. Again, Diablo 3, we've got followers, which are basically the new mercenaries. We've got companions, which, if anybody have played Torchlight, they just run around and pick up gold. We summon them from a scroll. It's not a spell, we can't buy them. It's a little animal, and there are different types, and my buddy Forrest did a nice video showing them all off. So I'll probably pop that open once we do the second half of the show. And then, of course, we have the third type, which is called temporaries. And temporaries are like, they come from like random events. I think in the Worldwide 2008, yes, the Worldwide 2008 gameplay trailer that Blizzard released, they actually showed off a couple temporaries in a random event where Deckard Cain is there. We go and talk to Deckard Cain, and he's being guarded by these 3 archer warrior type random guys, just, you know, random NPCs hanging out in the middle of nowhere with Deckard Cain. And we have to just rescue them and bring them to safety. So basically we talk to them and they're like, yeah, we're going to accompany you, bring us back home. Cool beans. So we do that and they travel with us. So we have these 3 archer / warrior guys, and they travel with us and they kill things until we complete the quest. We go back to town and they are free to go. Now that's it. Again, that's why I call them temporaries. That's it. We don't do anything further with them. They're really just random events, as opposed to followers, on the other hand, which are just like mercenaries. Now, followers we can pick up in town. We do like a quest with them, which is how we first meet them, as opposed to Diablo 2, where we can kind of just do a quest and we talk to the mercenary leader who lets us purchase mercenaries. In Diablo 3, it's completely different. The mercenaries are very built into the storyline. Also, followers from Diablo 3 cannot be used in multiplayer games. This is a huge change, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. It looks like the first half of the show is probably a little bit shorter than I expected. Again, no big deal. The last ones have been ridiculously long, and I had no idea where the time goes. So I'm just going to take a short little break. And actually, somebody told me that drinking cold water is terrible for your throat. Yeah, I definitely think that's true. My throat feels like sandpaper right now. I haven't even been talking that long. But again, no big deal. We're going to power through it. So I'm going to take a short little water break, show a commercial or two, and then we're going to jump into Diablo 3. Diablo 3's got some cool stuff, so get ready. Alrighty, guys. Yeah, so just from the chat, that's kind of been going on in between. Somebody said day 9 drinks cold water. Well, obviously day 9 is God among men, and he just does not succumb to normal human issues. As far as like this episode being a little bit boring for the first half, well, I mean, some of you that already know what the hell's going on probably, you know, there might be episodes like this that are a little bit, I don't know, I don't really want to say boring, but not as interesting or informational for you. Again, I'm kind of just aiming this at the very basic. Basically, I wanted to cover all the game systems from Diablo 3, just so once we actually get into Diablo 3, there's no surprises. People, right, basically these things are necessary. In order for me to teach, you know, I think a great example is school. I mean, obviously, nobody likes going to school, although some people do, and they are very sadistic. Obviously, I mean, there are things, you know, people, they teach you the hard things. Like, I think a perfect example is math. What they do is they teach you how to do, say, for example, derivatives. We had to do that whole long equation, you know. I don't even remember what the equation is because that was just ridiculous that they even made us do that. So they teach you the hard way to do it, so that way you understand what it is you're doing, and then they teach you the easy way to do it, because teachers are ridiculously mean. No, but basically I'm hitting on all these very major game systems and key points for people to be able to understand Diablo 3. That way, once we do actually get the game in our hands, we can actually talk about important things, like I was saying, Diablo fundamentals, and we can do build discussion and theory crafting without people saying like, oh, hey, what is that mercenary there? What are you doing with that? And, well, then I don't have to go into detail. I can say, hey, you know, check out episode 6 to learn more about followers. And that's just kind of my thought process behind this. Anyway, so we've got Diablo 3 followers. I'm hoping this will be a little bit more interesting. Again, like I said, my buddy Force did a nice companions video. I think I might hit on that first. So yeah, I guess let's touch on companions first. Basically, what I was talking about before I took a little bit of a cold water commercial break was that there are 3 different types. We've got companions, we've got followers, and we've got temporaries. Temporaries I don't really have a video for. Again, that's really not all that important. They're just random guys you pick up from random quests or random events and whatnot, and you kind of help them out. So let's take a little look at the companions video my buddy Forrest did over here, and I'm just going to talk a little bit while we play this. And again, it's going to have to buffer. I'm going to have to check out that add-on you guys recommended for me. No big deal. Basically, again, companions are these little pets. They've got different ones, and it's not all that important. I just wanted to touch on it. And in fact, they actually removed it from their game just temporarily, though. They're going to be adding it back at some point, probably post-release. I don't really think it's going to have to wait until an expansion or something. I'm assuming, yeah, post-release. Basically, there are things like, you know, you use it from the scroll, and it's a little snake, or a rabbit, or like a Valkyrie. You know, I know Valkyrie, again, like the Hawk Eagle type thing. Alright, so let's just play this video, and let's see what we've got going on here. Mute it. I don't really know if it's muted. Oh, I don't think I hit play. YouTube, what are you doing to me? Let's switch screens again. YouTube's messing up. Oh, there we go. Okie doke. Well, that obviously does not want to play for whatever reason. Not sure what the deal is with that. Let's switch tabs. Nope. Alright, so whatever. YouTube doesn't want to play for me for some reason. No big deal. Anyway, let's just jump to the follower video. This one's actually the good one. The important one. This is actually the followers like preview trailer, so we're going to watch this, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on. Well, we pretty much got all the way there. It's not a big deal. I'm going to mute this, and we can stay on the screen while it kind of buffers, or I'll just jump to my webcam. Anyway, basically what we've got going on here is that we've got 3 different types of followers, and I think we get them in Acts. It's either Act 1, 2, or 3, or we get them all in Act 1. In fact, I think we get them on all of them in Act 1 is what Blizzard said. The only one we've actually been able to see in the beta was the Templar. Here we go. It's jumping up again. It's probably going to have to stop and buffer, but, I mean, not a big deal. This is pretty much just a little bit of, gameplay with the Templar. And Templar's not all that important because, again, we saw him in the beta. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry about that, guys. Basically, YouTube kind of just, owns me when I want to use some of the videos from YouTube. Good news is there's no more YouTube videos for today's episode. I'm going to have to figure out a better way to deal with that. I mean, again, basically, once the game comes out, I'm not really going to have to worry about YouTube videos anymore. I'm just going to be able to jump in game and show you all the cool stuff myself. The problem is, again, there's really not all that much we have access to in the beta. So anyway, again, we've got 3 different types of followers, and I'm just going to talk about each of them separately, where each of them uses different items. They all have backstories, like I mentioned earlier. Each of the different mercenaries, or followers, sorry, I'm going to keep calling them mercenaries just because that's what I'm used to. They're actually called followers. So each of the followers have their own backstory. They're directly built into the storyline of the game. We encounter them regardless of whether or not we are playing multiplayer. The difference is, again, you can't use them in multiplayer games. Basically, Blizzard is using this follower system to kind of replicate or duplicate, obviously the same thing, basically to copy the fact that there are no players with you. They want to use it to kind of encourage you to play co-op. They don't really want you playing by yourself, but hey, you can. Again, everything has to be online, but you can play by yourself if you so choose to. And I mean, when I'm doing things like magic finding, I'm probably going to end up playing by myself. But again, this follower system is made to encourage the use of co-op. So basically, you're running around, you meet a Templar in the cathedral, the Tristram Cathedral. You actually pick him up, and all of his gear is stolen. And you go and fight these guys, and you find his gear in this chest, and that's kind of how you encounter the Templar. You then follow the Templar and kill this corrupted Templar named Jondar, and then the Templar sees that you're willing to fight evil with him, and he offers you his services. You don't have to pay him. He offers you his services for free because you helped him with this quest and this and that. He has his own reasons for getting back at Diablo and the minions of hell, but again, you're all kind of so all the actual player characters, we all have our own different reasons, but we all kind of want to kill these demons of hell for our own personal reasons, so we kind of all just find ourselves in this same predicament. So again, the first one we have is the Templar. So let's take a look at what we've got going on for the Templar. Let's do a little bit of a full screen. And like I just explained a little bit of his backstory, the items he can use, again, we've got spears, we've got shields, and actually he can use rings, an amulet, and I believe even a helmet. He can also use, again, this relic. Now, relics are the Templar's unique item. Each of the mercenaries have their own unique items. And keep this in mind, the Templar is like our kickback to the Diablo I warrior. Just keep that in mind for now. So again, we've got this Templar character. He's got they have their own armor progression. They have their own skills, which I'm actually going to go to in just a second. Basically, his thing is like being a defensive tank who can also heal, so kind of like a paladin type character from Diablo II. But his overall concept is the Diablo I warrior. So let's go to the Templar's skills. We've got things, again, there's only 8 total. He unlocks he unlocks the ability to use 1 of 2 every 5 levels up to level 20. So we have 5, 10, 20. Again, you have to choose 1 per level. You can't use both. But you can go to town and you can pay for him to respec. Should be free, and I argue that, but that's not the point. You can pay to have him respec his skills. So should you mess something up, just cost a little bit of gold, no big deal. So again, the first one we've got is heal or intervene, and basically he'll just obviously, didn't mean to click on that, heals you or the Templar some life when you get to a certain point, and taunt does basically the same thing, except he pulls them in and fights them themselves, as opposed to having you fight them. It's just kind of like a little shout type thing. Then we've got Intimidate, and we've got Loyalty. Loyalty, again, regenerates life. And so this is actually kind of like Prayer from Diablo 2. And Intimidate, see, we've got a snare going on, no biggie. We've got Charge, similar to Paladin's Charge from Diablo 2. And we've got Onslaught, which does kind of like probably Bash, I would say, from Diablo 2. Barbarian skill, it kind of just bashes things over the head, you know, whatever. Guardian, now this is kind of where things get a little bit cooler. We've got a little bit of knockback going on, and then we've got some resource generation skills type going. So again, it all depends on what kind of mercenary you're looking for. Now, if you want him to be the, say, I don't know, tanky kind of a healer style thing, you can use, actually, I could probably come up with builds for two different ones. I mean, if you want to be a tank, you can use Intervene, you can use the Slow, either of these are fine, probably Onslaught, I would say, if he's going to be a tank. Or maybe even Charge, actually, if he's going to be a tank, because you're not looking for him to deal damage or DPS, you're looking for him to just tank damage, obviously, and you want to get him in the fray pretty quickly. And then, of course, Guardian would be the tank style thing. And then, of course, if you want to be, let's say, a caster, a healing caster types kind of a guy, we've got, obviously, we've got Heal, we've got Loyalty, probably Onslaught, and then I would say Inspired, just because we kind of want him to be a supporting kind of a class, not necessarily a DPS or tank. That's kind of the gist of the Templar. Again, the system isn't really too complex, but it's something I definitely needed to touch on. So we've got the Templar, who is our melee warrior style guy from Diablo 1. I keep saying Diablo 1, but just keep that in mind for now. So our second character we've got going on is the Scoundrel. And he is exactly like he sounds, this ridiculously shady rogue thief style guy. And of course he is our rogue character from Diablo 1. Basically, Blizzard did a throwback to all the Diablo 1 characters with these classes. So we've got the Scoundrel, and how we meet the Scoundrel is, and actually we just learned this in an interview from Alex Mayberry that he did, I believe, over the weekend. I think he was off in Latin America. I'm not exactly sure where he was, but yeah, I mean, pretty sure Latin America because they were Hispanic, and they're speaking Spanish at the beginning, so I'm assuming he was in Latin America. Jay Wilson went to, like, Korea and Taiwan, that kind of general area, to do interviews, basically just to do some press things for Diablo 3 and other places other than North America, because we've had like press tours and stuff. So again, we learned how we meet the Scoundrel. Scoundrel, I believe, is the second mercenary that we find, and basically what he said is, and he kind of implied this, we meet the Scoundrel, he's kind of in an altercation. It's the Scoundrel fighting a couple different men, and then there's one man's daughter there, and basically the Scoundrel was trying to pick up the daughter. This is kind of what he implied, and like he half said it and kind of implied, you know, wink wink. Scoundrel's trying to pick up the daughter, and you know, it's his farmer's daughter, and then the farmer's not too happy about it, so they get into a fight, and you're basically there, you kind of help out the Scoundrel, settle things. Scoundrel, you do like another little quest for the Scoundrel, and he offers you his services. He has his own specific set of skills. We're going to take a look at those. We're going to take a look at the items you can use. Let's just jump right into it. Again, like I said, the Scoundrel is the rogue style character. So he's bow or crossbow, similar to the rogue from Diablo 1 or the Diablo 2 mercenary rogue. He also has a token, is his unique item. Now we haven't actually seen any of the unique items in the beta. We haven't seen the Templar's unique items either. So he is kind of more, like I said, the rogue kind of ranged, bow wielding, but kind of shady at the same time character. I think one of his skills is actually called Pickpocket. Yeah, he's got poison, so crazy stuff like that. He's supposed to be this shady character. He's got these little bags hanging on the sides. I'm assuming he can obviously probably use armor and helmets and rings and an amulet just like the Templar can. So let's just go ahead and take a look at his skills. And, you know, maybe we'll check it out and make a little build for him as well. Again, depending on your class, like I said for Diablo 2, you can really use any of these three. I mean, if I'm a casting wizard, I might go with the Scoundrel, just because he can kind of go up close in DPS, but at the same time, I might go with the Templar to make sure that he can tank and heal me should that I need that. As somebody say a Barbarian, I might go with the Scoundrel or the Enchantress. The Enchantress I'm going to touch on in just a couple minutes. She's like the Sorcerer. So let's just talk a little bit about the Scoundrel's skills here. We've got Crippling Shot, just, you know, a regular ranged attack. We've got Poison Bolt, which obviously does poison damage. We've got Dirty Fighting. See, again, this kind of harkens back to the, you know, shady type character that he is. He blinds an enemy. Okay, so we've got blind. Vanish, which makes him kind of go invisible, and he heals himself. That's pretty cool. So he's got his own little heal. So actually, perfect. That's a perfect way for him to tank. There you go. Multi-shot. Obviously, just another ranged attack. Powered shot, another ranged attack that does some arcane damage. Anatomy increases crit hit. Pretty cool if you wanted him to start doing some DPS. And then Hysteria. You both go into hysterics. Increasing damage. That's pretty cool. It's a little buff. When you get a crit hit, you get a little increased damage for a short period of time. Okay, so let's make up two different builds. Let's say we want him to DPS and one for him to tank. So for DPS, we've got a couple of different options here. We can do Crippling Shot or Poison Bolts, although I'd probably say Crippling Shot. Actually, you know what? No. For DPS style, we're going to go Poison Bolts. We're going to do Dirty Fighting. We're going to do either one of these, so either or. Probably Powered Shot, because again, we were looking for DPS. And then probably Anatomy, because we're not looking for him to help us, we just want him to do his own damage. And then if we're going to look for him to tank and us do the damage, we're going to obviously do Crippling Shot, again because the snare is the target. We're going to do Vanish, because he can heal himself should he get injured, and again, he's not really made to tank, so it's all going to depend on the items you get him, along with the ability to heal himself. Then we're going to do Multi-Shot, and if you're wondering why I chose Multi-Shot as opposed to Powered Shot, Multi-Shot will allow him to grab the aggro. It's not really aggro, there's like no aggro system in Diablo 3, but it's going to allow him to hit multiple targets at once, and if I'm focusing on one target, he hits the other two, well then the other two are going to go to him as opposed to me. So we want him to tank, right? We don't want to be taking damage, we want him to. And then of course we have Hysteria is what I'd probably use, because again, we would be the ones doing the DPS, so we want whatever buffs we can get from him. So that's kind of what we're looking at for this scoundrel. Again, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm just kind of offering up two builds, and I'm just making them up on the spot here. Some people might say, hey, why didn't you research this? Well, because I'm showing you how cool it is to make up builds in Diablo. So we've got, again, this is the Mercenary system. The last one we're going to look at is the Enchantress. Last one we're going to look at is the Enchantress, and today's episode was a little bit shorter. So we'll just look at the Enchantress, I'll do some community questions, and then we'll wrap up today's episode. So, oh, wrong one. Alright, so we've got the Enchantress going on. And actually, I'm not exactly sure how it is that we encounter the Enchantress. They haven't really told us just yet. But what I do know about the Enchantress is that she is the throwback to the Diablo 1 sorcerer. She is, I mean, obviously a female as opposed to a male. And from what I understand, and actually I think they talked a little bit about this in the interview, was that she's not aware of how, like, beautiful she is, and she kind of just runs around wrecking face and doesn't really know that she's beautiful, and that's kind of just the backstory. I'm assuming that we meet her kind of, and that's kind of the, like, the situation that we gather. Again, they haven't told us, so I don't know. I'm just kind of basing off of a little sentence that the reporter or interviewer asked Alex Mayberry from the Latin America interviews. So let's just talk a little bit about her. She can use staves, she can use two-handed swords, and again, probably armor, helmet, rings, and an amulet. And then, of course, we have the focuses. Shouldn't it be foci? There, focuses. Basically, they're like mirrors, and she gets all kinds of cool stuff. Eyes, and yeah, mirrors, and different types of things like that. That's kind of her specific unique item. Her thing is to support through spells and whatnot. Of course, she can use two-handed swords. So again, we can make up whatever builds we want with that. I like that Blizzard gives us that option. So let's take a look at her skills. And here we've got Charm, which is kind of like conversion. And I showed this off during my Diablo 2 class kind of demos. The Paladin has conversion. He swings his little sword, axe, whatever, and it converts the enemy. Has a chance to convert the enemy to fight for you. So basically that's what Charm is for the Enchantress. We have Forceful Push here, which I'm assuming does some knockback. Arcane Explosion, knockback. There you go. Okay, so Powered Armor. Enchantress butts herself. Buff. But that looks like two T's. Come on. And then I clicked on it. Yeah, so That doesn't even make sense. Whatever. It buffs herself and her allies. Cool. So we've got the tank style thing. We've got reflect missiles, which just does adds a shield, and it obviously reflects the projectiles. Disorient, which is similar to blind. Erosion, which does some weapon damage. Yeah, it deals 50% weapon damage. Yeah, so just more DPS. Focused mind does an aura for attack speed. And we have mass control, which I'm assuming is... Okay, so mass control is like a giant AoE hex, and it turns everybody into that short area of effect into chickens. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so let's just do the two that I have been doing, tanking and DPS. So let's take a look at what we've got going on. Again, so for... let's do tank first, I guess. I'd probably go with Charm, because it kind of takes away from the enemies that will be attacking you. So yeah, I'd probably go with Charm for the tank, and then we've got probably Powered Armor, and then something, I don't know, yeah, definitely Disorient, and then probably Focused Mind. Wow, this is kind of a difficult toss-up. And actually, if you notice right here, the levels are different. Yeah, this is kind of difficult, actually, and I don't know if I like this. I mean, obviously that means that these spells are very... all of them have their own different, unique pros and cons. So this is good. It means that we have to make real decisions when we're picking skills for these characters, as opposed to, like, oh, who the hell cares? So this is relatively important. So yeah, for a tank, I'm probably just going to go straight down this line. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to do this. We're going to do Charm, Powered Armor, Disorient, and Mass Control for tanking. And then for DPS, we're going to do Forceful Push, because it does some knockback. We're going to do Reflect, because if she's going to be DPSing, we don't really want her taking damage. If we're going to, and then for DPS, we're going to have Erosion, because it just adds damage. And then Focused Mind, because it does attack speed. So we've got her helping out DPS with herself and with us. Man, that was actually a really difficult one to do. Not a huge deal. Like I said, this is kind of the gist of the Enchantress. She's like a throwback to Diablo and Sorcerer. We've got our followers doing kind of throwbacks for the Diablo classes. They're really only there to help encourage real co-op. So that what Blizzard wants us to do is say, you know, if we're playing by ourselves, we encounter these classes, and then we're like, oh, cool, like, I miss having a second class or a person to play with. And they actually interact with us throughout the story, like, depending on whether or not you're a male or female class, and so, you know, 10 total, these followers interact differently throughout the storyline with each of the class, gender, potential, you know, whatever you pick. They interact with them all differently. So Alex Mayberry, for example, while he said that while he was playing as a female wizard and he had Scoundrel, he said while he was playing through the game, he was busy cracking up because of the interaction between the two of them. And again, Scoundrel is supposed to be the shady guy that's trying to pick up the farmer's chick at the beginning of the quest when you meet him, so I can only assume what you know goes on between the female wizard and the Scoundrel. Anyway, let me see if I can play this video. Yeah, it still doesn't want to work. Oh well, whatever. Companions, again, this companion system, like I was saying before, are like just random little... I don't really want to call it a mule, but it kind of is. Basically, it's like an animal you summon from a scroll, just a random animal, and it goes around and collects gold for you, so you don't have to. Blizzard said that it wasn't too cool, and some of the animals didn't really make sense, like, I don't know, like a bird flying around. I don't know. Some of them they said didn't really make sense, and they wanted to make it cooler, so they temporarily removed that from the game. Not a huge deal. We can run around and pick up gold ourselves. But basically, yes, that's what we've got going on. We've got followers, we've got temporaries, and we've got these companions, which will be added at a later point in time. So those are the differences between the Diablo III mercenary system and the Diablo II mercenary system. I'd like to open this up to some community questions. If you guys in chat have any questions for us. Not exactly sure if the chat is working, so I'm just going to type a random thing. Okie dokie, yeah, so it looks like chat's going just fine, because my message popped up. So yeah, I'm going to switch to my nameplate, wait for some questions to pop in, and we will see what we've got going on. It doesn't even matter if you guys have questions about the mercenary system or just anything Diablo in general. I'm really here to answer whatever. Alrighty, so I've got two good questions here. The first one I'm going to answer is from Crisscross. That's a pretty cool name. Yeah, so basically, I'm going to answer that one first because it has to do with the mercenaries that we were just talking about. And he asks, should we always be using mercenaries? Are we handicapping ourselves if we play solo? And the answer is, it's up to you. Whatever your personal preference is. Originally, the mercenary system was only supposed to be viable in the normal difficulty. It was not going to be viable past normal. And we talked to Jay Wilson about this at the press event, and something he said that he found really interesting was, basically, he was saying followers are not going to be viable, and he said somebody from the community he saw said, okay, challenge accepted. And he thought that was so cool that he decided to have a meeting about it, and they made followers viable through all 4 acts. So that means we're going to be able to take our followers into the Inferno difficulty now. Do we have to? No. I mean, you're not going to be handicapping yourselves, but you're obviously going to have a little bit of a disadvantage because of the added effects you could potentially have from these mercenaries or followers. I mean, regardless of who you use, no matter who you use, you're always going to have like a second player, and you're also going to gain whatever benefits you get from that player. Now, these followers don't ever actually die, but they're always there. So whatever benefits you gain from them, you'd kind of just be obviously not gaining those benefits. So, I mean, I would like to say that somebody with a follower has more of an advantage and more leverage than somebody without a follower, but again, it's all personal preference. You do not have to use them. One from Rinslet is, what do you think the best magic finding class is? And that's actually a really good question. I'm not too sure. I mean, it might be the Barbarian. It might be the Demon Hunter because they can dual wield. But again, I mean, if you can find some good magic find on something like a shield, then it could potentially be any class. I believe it's either the Barbarian or the Monk has some magic find passives. I would have to look and double check on that. But we didn't unlock them in the beta, so I mean, we don't really have access to that just yet. But yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure. And then as far as Magic Find goes, I know I touched on this in a previous episode. Magic Find is not character specific anymore, it's party specific. So if I have 100 Magic Find and I'm playing with 3 other people that have 0, everybody in my party now has 25. So it takes the total and averages it out. We've got one from, I'm not even pretend to pronounce that, Joust, I guess. Do you think all 3 mercenaries will be available in town? If so, will they keep their gear unlike Diablo 2? Yes. All of them will certainly be available in town. Basically, we'll rescue them, and they will be hanging out in town with us. That's kind of the gist of what Blizzard calls the caravan. And basically, it's really this caravan buggy kind of a thing that just follows around with us wherever we go. We don't actually see it, but the artisans, again, the blacksmith and the jeweler, and previously the mystic, I'm going to touch on this in a later episode. And then we have Leia, I believe we have Cain, and then the 3 different followers. They kind of ride along in this caravan and follow us. So they're always going to be with us in town. Magic Find, I believe, for the follower... Actually, sorry. I didn't answer the rest of the first question. So, yes, followers will always be available in town, and they will keep their gear. So they are, for all intents and purposes, another character. So they will not lose their gear. We have got one from Zyzen. Does Magic Find split like that with your follower? That's a great question, and Blizzard just recently said something about this. And I don't exactly remember. I believe that it said that it's either one or the other. Their Magic Find gets added to ours, or our Magic Find gets added to theirs. It doesn't average and split or anything. Are they going to scale with us in Diablo 2? Yes. They get stronger as level goes up. And actually, I've got this one from Jalis that I wanted to talk about. He asks, it's not necessarily mercenary specific. Oh, okay. Thank you, Chris Krause. Not exactly sure what I was reading that. So, yes, from the chat he says you get 20% of their Magic Find. That's interesting. I'm going to have to double check that blue quote. It was a Twitter quote. Whatever. Okay, so here we go. Jalis wants to know, there's been some discussion about animation canceling, and if this is intentional or not, but if it is a bug and will be fixed, where does the player's skill come into play if there's no difference between clicking or holding the button over the enemy you're attacking? What makes a good player better than a noob? Basically, this animation canceling, for those of you that don't know, and I guess I probably could have pulled up the video, maybe I'll show it in the next episode. You know what, I'll probably say that for the PvP episode. Basically, animation canceling is, you can use one spell, and actually this is something that I like to do a lot in Call of Duty. I'll use this Call of Duty example. When I reload in Call of Duty, you reload your ammo, you pull out the clip and then you shove it back in. However, you actually gain the ammo before you put the clip back in. So if you do something like reload, and then before the animation is finished, you start to sprint and stop, you automatically have the ammo before the animation finishes. So for all intents and purposes, you actually reloaded without the animation actually showing you reload. So in Diablo 3, we have a similar style thing. We've got, you use one spell, and then immediately after you use a different spell, and there's like a whole set of requirements, and you have to do it in a certain order. You have to, like, you can't use it with the mouse. It's got to be on the keyboard button. I don't exactly remember. It was on Team Liquid. But basically, you can use animation canceling, and whether or not this is a bug, I'm not sure. Blizzard hasn't really commented on it publicly. I know that he reported it as a bug, so we're just going to have to kind of wait and see how that goes. But basically, I like to say that this is Blizzard's easy to learn, difficult to master. So as a complete veteran, you will be able to figure out these animation canceling techniques, use them to your advantage, and just kind of, you know, obviously in PvP there's a huge advantage because you'll be able to cast things faster. Depending on your builds, maybe you'll style build around it. I don't know, but being difficult to master, that makes it hard. As a noob, you probably won't, I mean, maybe you'll accidentally do this here and there, but you probably won't understand that that's like actually what's happening until you kind of go through. And that's kind of my 2 cents on animation canceling. Do you think it'll be viable in Magic Find on your own? Because it won't, having a party basically bring you down. I had a lot of discussion with this on one of the Diablo casts previously. On the one hand, having a party potentially decreases your Magic Find. If I have 100 Magic Find and my buddy has, say, 50 Magic Find, collectively we only have 75. However, we're now killing things, you know, twice as fast because there's 2 of us. So I'm potentially being able to gain more drops, and I'm getting 75% Magic Find chance to drop on more monsters because we're killing more faster, as opposed to getting 100% on a little bit slower. So it's kind of hard to say. As you can see, there's both sides to that. You've got, you know, somebody with high Magic Find joining a party because he can kill faster, so he's got lower Magic Find but can kill faster. And then we've got to play alone, kill slower but have high Magic Find. So it's all it's different differences between being efficient and being timely. And that's kind of the toss-up between the two. We've got a question from ErrorX3. What's your opinion of the Diablo III TV spot, which was released over the weekend? I think that was awesome. It was like, I don't know, it was perfect because they used like a bunch of little clips. I talked about that at the beginning of the episode and tried to show it off. Actually, yeah, I'm not going to go over it again. But yeah, they used a bunch of little clips to kind of hype up the game. We've got 2 weeks left until the game goes live. I'm psyched. I'm probably going to do a little end of the beta streaming tonight. I might do some Diablo 2 laddering. I'll let you guys know, don't worry, but that's going to wrap up today's episode. Again, I'm sorry if it was a little boring for any of you that already knew what was going on. Next week's episode, let me double check. I want to say it's crafting. Yes, next week's episode is crafting and I keep saying next week. Wednesday's episode is crafting and the artisans. It's going to be at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, normal time. Nothing's changing. Yes, it's about crafting the artisans. Again, it's going to be a little bit more on the caravan, like I was just speaking about. So yes, that wraps up today's episode. I'm going to cut out, play a little bit of Diablo music. I'll see you guys in a couple days. And actually, I'm going to tweet some more information about my stream, Diablo 3 stream, Diablo 2 stream. I'll keep you guys in the loop. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Sixen. Feel free to show your support with hashtag Diablo Daily. I actually got a bunch of tweets from people like that. That means a lot to me, guys. I didn't actually honestly expect all that support right off the bat, so I'm really excited for that. So thank you, guys. I'm actually having a lot of fun doing this. So I will see you guys on Wednesday.
¿Has oído? Ahora obtendrás nuevos precios más bajos en Fry's. Precios más bajos a través de toda la tienda en las cosas.
Yeah, you guys heard that? I got hit by my own ad. I had to pause it. It's like already muted. Twitch is kind of funky with that, but whatever, no big deal.